Good evening, fanboys and girls, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Fanboy Fight Club podcast. Jason here, and I'm joined by Jake, the Angry Man Bun, Mike, the ringleader of the Dick Circus, Jamar, the human embodiment of Donatello, and, of course, the ultimate barista, Wes.
I hate my life.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our second edition of the podcast. Last week we had talked about possibly doing talking about the VR and gaming, but we decided to actually table that for now with the release of Uncharted this past week. It kind of sparked a little bit of debate between us to who's kind of the better adventurer. Laura Croft or Nathan Drake. So
Naked Drake.
Yeah, Nathan Drake.
Laura Drake and Nathan
There's your
Croft.
DLC, kids. Naked Drake.
So we decided to put together Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series against Laura Croft in the Tomb Raider franchise. But before we do that, is there anything you guys would like to add or to open up the show with?
I would like to clarify that any week that we say, like, hey, next week we're going to do this, it's probably not going to happen just because we're going to argue about something else, and then we're going to be like, hey, no, we should wait and table this until, other people can hear how smart we are. So, just take all of those, just take all of our, like, hey, next week as with, tables of salt.
Right. Yeah, the card is always subject to change.
All right.
Didn't you say you had some funny shit happen to you or something that you wanted to talk about?
Now I'm more interested in Naked Drake.
Yeah, right?
Please talk to me about Naked Drake and his Among Thieves and his what's
Uncharted.
Hey, spoiler alert! You haven't got to the end of the game yet.
Well, no, let's talk about Taylor games. Like,
I'm gonna
Throughout the game, he's wearing less and less.
It gives all new meaning to a thief's end.
this is their way to combat everyone, thinking that Laura Croft runs around naked. They're gonna make Drake run around naked.
Naked Drake, a thief's
That's fair. Like Game of Thrones, the more dick they show, the more they can have naked women on it.
No, seriously though, have you guys watched that RuPaul Drag Race show?
Never in my life.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
It's a contest show. A bunch of dudes are in drag and they do different contests, and then they get eliminated, kind of like Face Off or like Project Runway. But I have no idea what this show was. I came home from work the other day, and Sarah had it on TV, and I was like, "What the fuck are you watching?" And then I couldn't stop watching it, and I sat on the couch. And I was like, oh my god, next episode, please. Oh my god, next episode. Let's skip to the finale. Let's watch the finale and go into season 7, because there's 7 seasons of this goddamn show.
7 seasons?
Yeah, and it's like a car wreck. It's so freaking incredible, you can't look away.
You're gonna say beautiful.
I almost said beautiful, but then I would have popped the boner, so I didn't.
Oh man.
But you guys should check it out, because it's the weirdest thing you're ever going to see.
I'll put that on my list.
We'll get on that.
We will.
I'm sure as soon as this is over, you guys are going to be like, oh, RuPaul's Drag Race, must watch.
Yeah, I'm going to go Netflix it right.
I'm going to put that in front of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy. All right. Anything else anybody would like to add?
I mean, he kind of stole the show with that one. I don't think anyone
Yeah.
can beat that.
You can't really follow up the Drag Race.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, we're actually going to kick this week off with a new feature. Last week we kind of mentioned that Jake loves to break down movie trailers, so we thought it'd be fun to give him some time to tell you how he feels about like recently released trailers for movies in a segment that we like to call Jake's Trailer Trash. So go ahead and take it away, Jake.
I feel like we should just add a whole bunch of like monster truck sounds, some like beer cans crunching, maybe some like fat ladies yelling at their redheaded stepchildren in front of that.
Next week I'll be prepared with like one of those like remote control Hot Wheels and some cans. I'll just have it all ready. We'll do this like old school radio before they had the soundboards. I'll just have it all ready with my mic.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so I guess the big trailer everyone's talking about this week is going to be the Assassin's Creed trailer, which I'll just go ahead and start on this thing. It's apparently following the trend of every video game and movie lately, and it's only set in orange or blue. The past is always orange, and the future is always blue, which, just continues that stupid ass trend of everything needing to be contrasting colors like that. So, that's the one thing that kind of threw me off immediately. I was like, oh, these are totally drastic color changes between these two settings. And, I kind of get it, but it's still kind of retarded at the same time. The other thing that seems to be pissing everyone else off about this is the giant mechanical arm that holds onto him the entire time, which apparently does not impede movement whatsoever. So he just does all of his movements that his memories would be doing, I'm guessing, and that would train his muscle memory to do it in the future. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I kind of liked just the regular animus of, hey, lay on this table and have that work out for you. But, obviously it's Michael Fassbender, so they have to have him up and moving around. They don't want to waste him on a table.
Well, yeah.
Doo-doo. And the one that we actually all fought over the most, because we almost made a whole show on this one, is how much Kanye sucks. Nobody liked that song. Like, nobody liked that song for that trailer. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. It was just not a good fit. Like, regardless if you like Kanye or not, like, it just did not fit the tone of the movie or the trailer speed or anything like that. Yeah, like, there's much better songs that they could have used. In fact, one of the songs, somebody, within hours made a cut with a different song called Iron from, I believe it was made by Woodkid, and the song was also used in Revelations, I think, Assassin's Creed Revelations. So it kind of has a tie to the series, but then again, you're also reusing something from the series. So I don't know if it's not the best fit in the world, but it was definitely a better fit than Kanye. So overall, this trailer was kind of a mess too. Like, it jumped all over the place. It showed you some cool action scenes, like that. The chick seems like a badass, but you could also tell that they sped up the action to make it seem like she was faster than she really was, which is another issue entirely. I should add a disclaimer that anytime I trash one of these trailers, doesn't mean I'm not going to like the movie. It doesn't mean I won't go see the movie. I'll probably still go see it, probably still spend my money there, and I might even enjoy it. Every once in a while I'll just rip a trailer apart, and then I'll eat my words when it comes out and it's actually good. Or sometimes I'll really like trailers, and then
stick to his guns and just continue to tell us it sucks even though it didn't.
Well, I was going to say, or I could really like a trailer and then watch the movie and be totally disappointed, like Batman vs Superman. I actually enjoyed 2 of those trailers, but
yeah, the one trailer you totally ripped apart though. So
yeah,
the first one
was
cut
wonky, and you didn't like the music that went with the funny parts, and
it cut around too much, which the movie cut around too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I'm right.
All right. Well, thank you, Jake. Appreciate that. Awesome job on that. So I guess onto the fight now. So Uncharted 4: Thief's End was released Tuesday, and we've all played it. A few of us have even beaten it. It's a great game series, but is Nathan Drake the best explorer in the video game world, or does that honor go to Lara Croft?
Nathan Drake by far. Nathan Drake. I'm not just saying it because his boner gives me a boner. And in return, gives him a boner.
You mean Naked Drake?
Naked Drake is the man. Just by far. That's my stance.
I'll be honest though, like I get where you're coming from, and that series was a great series, but I just remember as a kid playing Tomb Raider for the first time, and how like just awesome of a game it was, and how like you can move around and jump on things. I mean, it was really kind of the first of its kind that was really like a especially like with a female lead in it. So I mean, I think that there's a lot to be said about that. I mean, that franchise has stood for how long now?
I mean, Jamar, you can't come out swinging and say, "Oh, Naked Drake is obviously better," and not say why. Like, you got to back it up with facts.
I was just making a stance just to put down that, but
Okay.
I mean, the answer is obviously Tomb Raider, but I'll let you go ahead.
To go basically off of, I guess, combat what you say, Jason, as far as a game that just blows your mind. I also can remember the first time I played Uncharted, the first time I played Uncharted 2, the first time I played Uncharted 3, and then the first time I played Uncharted 4. Each time
a week ago.
Exactly, and it's still a mind-blowing experience. Even though like Tomb Raider was amazing, but could you imagine playing Uncharted at that time? female lead is, a very good point. There's not many in video games, and Lara Croft is like the first strong, dominant female. But she was also kind of used at that time as more of a sex symbol. So it wasn't until it was rebooted to where she became that strong female lead. So
she was still a strong female lead. They just, back then the video game industry was primarily guys playing video games. Girls, it was shunned for them to even like whisper about liking anything nerdy. And so they wanted to appeal to that demographic just like comics did. How many comic book female characters have giant boobs?
Well, I wasn't even just talking about the boobs, but since you brought those up.
I mean, let's face it, that's how we're sexualizing her. I mean, yeah, she wore skimpy clothes, but ultimately they gave her like the biggest set of boobs you could possibly put in a video game.
You didn't bring it up, Jamar, but we all know you were thinking it.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna
lie. Yeah, you were thinking about it while you were stroking Naked Drake's, shaft, but
before there was Naked Drake, there was Lara Croft and her boobs.
Tomb Raider's been out for 20 years now. I've been playing it since I was 8 years old. I still remember the first day I played it. My friend had it, and he had this weird, stupid lisp, and he's like, "Hey, let's go play Terminator." And I was like, "Oh, dude, I like Terminator. He kills people. I like killing people." And then he popped it in, and it was this weird, blocky female character shooting at tigers, and I was like, "This is
fuck those tigers.
This is weird,
those
right?"
tigers so hard.
But it's still around to this day. Yeah, they messed up in the 2000s and released some shitty games.
Oh god, the PS2 run was so awful.
It's terrible. But the games, I still play the first few, still to this day, on the PlayStation 1.
So, if we're going to bring up a couple things, like you mentioned that you heard it originally as Terminator. So let's compare the two names when you can't understand quite what the person said. Tomb Raider to Terminator is a pretty cool jump. Unfortunately, Uncharted sounds like someone just said I sharted, and it's just not. I mean,
unfarted.
Yeah, like you just have to take a second, and you're like, wait, what? Shard? You sharted? No. Oh, you played a video game where you sharted? Oh, Uncharted. Oh no, that one's really cool.
I have to agree, but if you see someone shart herself, you will definitely have it.
I love this becoming the conversation. It was already divulging with the whole discussing her boobs, but now we've just gone to like farts. And
here's the question though. So is it fair to include the original Tomb Raiders in this debate, or is the reboot more of a fair comparison from like a gameplay? Or
I feel like we have to include the old stuff because that's what. Yeah. If it wasn't for Lara Croft, there would not be a Nathan Drake.
And again, we mentioned this in the chat, and that's not true. That's not true. I feel like Drake is basically
she created the genre. Like she made it what it was, and then Naughty Dog was like, "Hey, we need something that's like that, but isn't doing as terrible as that is," because they fucked it all up. And then Uncharted came out, and originally it probably wasn't planned to have this long ass now 4 games coming out. They probably just were like, "Oh, it's gonna be a one-hit wonder," but something revive that genre. And now look at it, and it even inspired Tomb Raider to come back and be better than ever.
So you're telling me a game from 1999 inspired a game in 2007?
I mean, last week we argued about a movie that's coming out this summer that's inspired by a movie from 30 years ago. So yeah, I'm saying that.
I mean, we're not saying it's a game in 1999 is based off it. We're saying a game from 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2003, 2006, 2007, 2008 is all based on that Uncharted game. All of those.
So, in which ways, outside of searching for treasure, is Uncharted similar to Tomb Raider?
It's a guns, game. Bad guy that's trying to beat you to the treasure. I mean, it's all basically Indiana Jones in video game form.
So
yeah,
no difference. There's no Nazis.
I would say that Tomb Raider. I mean, it's not like it's a 100% original idea. Like it had to when you're talking about oh, this game inspired this other game, sure, but then you have to point out what the first game got inspired by. So it's kind of just the circular thing where sure Uncharted might not exist the way it does now without Tomb Raider, but I'm pretty sure somebody would have been like, hey, let's make a badass Indiana Jones type game. Even if Tomb Raider never come out.
Especially we never get any good Indiana Jones games.
Originally Lara Croft was supposed to be a male character. In the original idea for the game Tomb Raider is supposed to feature a male character, but the character that they designed was too much like Indiana Jones, so they decided to scrap that idea, and that's how the female lead came about. So that, I mean, it was inspired by, obviously, Indiana Jones, because that's originally what they had designed for it. But So I guess that's a fair comparison. So but I do think it's fair to say that there would be no Nathan Drake without Lara Croft. I mean,
How?
she did.
It's hard to say that. It's
redefine-
hard.
You
It's
can't
not,
say
though.
that.
You
Because
can
you
though,
can say
because I mean they probably wouldn't have tried again to make something that outside the box when everything was slowly going
Okay, so-
into your
But
generic
you
games
say-
at that
No,
point.
no,
Try
no.
again.
But say Tomb Raider never came out in 1999.
Tomb
You don't yeah, what Terminator? Say it never came out. If she never, like, Lara Croft never existed, you don't think in the entire history of gaming they wouldn't have tried to make an Indiana Jones type game or an adventure type game or a Doc
They
Savage
would
type
have,
game?
but there's no guarantee
not
that
been
it
the
wouldn't have
same,
been
though.
like completely awful. I mean,
It doesn't
what-
matter how good it would have been. You could have then
I mean, it
that
kinda
game would
does.
exist, and then Uncharted would have possibly come from that game that was terrible because they're like, oh, that's a good idea, but they just didn't do it right. And, like it's so
So-
hard to like point down like, hey, this is 100% the reason why this other game got made.
I want to jump in here. This is
Go
this is probably like the biggest argument I thought that we were gonna have, is because I kind of in our group chat we had a little discussion and kind of foreshadowed to this, but to say that Lara Croft inspired Uncharted or Tomb Raider inspired Uncharted is just kind of insane. I mean, they're both similar genres, like the 3D platformer adventure type game, but like Uncharted was founded on huge set pieces, like insane, like amazing things happening. It really wasn't about like the shooting and combat of those things. It was more of a story and like pulling you through the game instead of you actually.
But it
like,
also
kind of
came out
playing
in a time when they had the power to do that. Back on PS2, they didn't have that kind of power.
They didn't have
that
the ability to tell stories in the game. Like, can you
Not, I
remember
mean,
outside of like the shitty horrible
what
movie by
PS2 games were you playing that had good stories to them?
The original Tomb Raider had a story. It might not have gone in as great detail as Uncharted, but they still had a story. I mean, there was a purpose to her adventure. It wasn't like she was just out looking for something for no reason. I mean, it just wasn't.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, like, to say that this game was inspired by.
Now I'll say that Uncharted is way more action packed. I mean, with the button sequence, like where you have like just when you have like a car coming after you and you're trying to run away from it and stuff like that. I mean,
Spoilers.
there's a lot more like. That's
You're
happening in
talking
every
about
game.
Uncharted
Jay.
too.
I know.
Every game that's happening. I'm not saying
But that's my point exactly. It seems Uncharted is more of a movie experience, which
I'll
would-
give you that.
like, Ken is
Definitely,
no
it's
more
definitely
to
more of a
Indiana
movie
Jones.
experience.
So like Tomb
But
Raider
they
could
couldn't
have
have
never
given us a
happened.
movie
and Uncharted-
experience back on PS2.
And I feel like Tomb Raider is more
I don't know, I
problem
mean,
solving,
it's-
too.
Or even PS1 for that matter. PS1 was a system that
PlayStation-
was basically, let's make a giant kangaroo bandicoot fucking thing run around and collect oranges because that fucking makes sense. I mean, that
Apples.
game,
They were
if
apples,
that game
weren't
had
they?
a story to it, I had no idea what the hell it was.
Wasn't collecting, he was stealing. Get it right.
Yeah.
My bad.
I'm just saying the excuse of saying that it was on a lesser console doesn't mean that it was like it couldn't do the same things that like Naughty Dog did with Uncharted.
Well, I mean, the Tomb Raider games
God of
had
War was
cutscenes.
on PlayStation 2, and it was like had an amazing story, right? And it had action and it felt cinematic. So it's not quite the same thing. My argument is that to say that if there was no Tomb Raider, there would be no Uncharted. That's kind of like blasphemy. There's
I
no
think it
way
wouldn't be
that-
what it is today. I think
I
they still would
don't
have tried it again, but it
way.
wouldn't have been the same.
I don't think it would have been as good as what it is today because what
'Cause
they
they wouldn't-
learned from
And
all of
that's-
Tomb Raider's mistakes.
I agree with that.
What
It
did
would have
the-
been Tomb Raider. It would have been the shitty 2000s Tomb Raider games. You wouldn't have gotten your giant, pretty areas. You wouldn't have gotten the amazing
So
cinematic
hang on.
experience.
Let me understand the analogy you guys are making. If Tomb Raider didn't exist, what you guys think is the better game here, then Uncharted would be Tomb Raider. Is that the circular logic we're going with?
I think what we're trying to say is like Naughty Dog, they took Tomb Raider and raised the bar. Just like they kind of took like the idea behind like a Resident Evil type game with Last of Us and raised the bar there. That kind of like they took that type of genre like and just totally raised the bar, which is why Tomb Raider rebooted. That's why they came out with a whole new series where it's more of like a survivalist type game now. So I mean, I'd say that they all play off of each other.
I don't know. I mean, we had the argument of Kanye West sampling music, and it just makes me feel like you're saying that
God,
like
don't go there.
Naughty Dog is doing the Kanye West of like video gaming. They're taking something old and creating something new out of it.
I'm not saying something. I'm not saying
that's
it's a
not
carbon
totally
copy.
inaccurate, though. I mean,
They're
they aren't
just
copying
they're
it.
just taking an idea and raising the bar.
They're like the better
Everything's
Kanye
an
West,
idea.
because instead of just
Everything's
taking
an
and
idea.
copying it, they're just going, oh, this genre seems to be struggling. What can we do to make a game that would be really good in that, and take everything that from like these other games and then make our own twist to it, and then you get stuff like Last of Us. Compared to Kanye, who's just like, I'm going to lay some track over top this other song that did really well, and we're going to be awesome.
Oh God. So what elements again like in Tomb Raider? I'm just trying to get like those. That's what I just don't understand is if it's copying it, like what elements outside of
The exploration, the puzzles,
was that not so God of War was inspired by Tomb Raider as well?
There's a,
I would
They're
say
not
I
even
would
the
say God of
same-
War
I mean, if you
is
went
way
that,
more
then
Tomb
we're talking
Raider
like Legend
than
of Zelda
Uncharted.
inspired everything.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's what we could say. Legend of Zelda has inspired every video game. Super Mario has inspired every video game. If
I
it
mean,
was no
Pong
Super Mario.
inspired every video game.
I think
Pong
you're
inspired-
almost right. Like, Uncharted is multiple things like coming together in a point, but you know, like platforming came from Mario, puzzle solving kind of came from the original Legend of Zelda. Like there's a lot of things that culminated in something like Uncharted being made, but that doesn't necessarily speak to the quality of the game or speak against the quality of the game. If we're comparing
Oh, yeah.
which is the better of the games, it's really hard to say the Tomb Raider games. Like I played the remakes and they were great, but they didn't feel like the old Tomb Raider games. They were more stealth action than puzzle platformer. You know, so where are you going to draw the line, and like what are we actually comparing these two on? Because if you go with the way the old Tomb Raider was, it's going to be a different comparison than the new Tomb Raider versus Uncharted.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, see, I'm here in the middle because I love both games. I love what they've kind of given to each other, because without Uncharted, there wouldn't have been a reboot for Tomb Raider that would have been so amazing. So it's kind of like they've helped push each other to that next level. And if it wasn't for the fact that Tomb Raider 2 is on shitbox, I would have played that by now and been amazed as I was when I played the first one they did.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I've played both of the reboots, and I enjoyed them. I had a really great time with them, but it was more of just like the actual activity of playing the game is what was fun. Crafting the weapons was cool. I feel like they went a different way. Honestly, I feel like it was kind of inspired by Last of Us. Like some of the crafting that was in it, like live crafting to make weapons and use them right away.
Yeah.
Crafting. But the emotion and things like that are invoked from Uncharted is still on just a far and beyond level. And it's not to knock the Tomb Raider games, because quite frankly, I don't see any developer on the same level as Naughty Dog when it comes to like story and like, I mean, just the sheer beauty of the game alone. So I mean, that's my only thing I have against Tomb Raider. I feel like it could be a more emotional game, but I feel like it pulls back a little bit and just becomes more of just a video game.
I don't feel like any studio touches the emotional strings like Naughty Dog does. Like they do such a
Yeah.
great job. Like Last of Us had me bawling at the beginning. Like the first 10 minutes of a video game, I was like, oh, this is the saddest thing I've seen all week.
I agree with that. I even told
Yeah.
my wife. I mean, as a dad, watching the beginning of that game happen, like I almost lost it. Like that was horrible. I could not imagine that.
But the reason I picked Tomb Raider, like I also agree that both are great games. I love the original Tomb Raiders, of the reboots. I also love Uncharted. The reason I picked Tomb Raider is because of the history of it and how long it's been around.
But that's like saying, I mean, a Ford Tempo that's still driving on the road doesn't mean it's great because it's been around a long time.
Because the Ford Tempo wasn't great. The first Tomb Raider was great. The second Tomb Raider was even better than the first Tomb Raider. Like
I'm going to disagree. Like I don't remember too many actual people that I talked to that played the first Tomb Raider really, really liking it. Like when it came out, like it got decent reviews, but like I really, maybe it was just my circle of friends or something, but I don't really remember it too much.
I couldn't put the bad boy down. I stopped jacking off to play that game. I'll be honest.
You were like 6. What the fuck?
Come on.
Well, and that kind of leads me
Early.
into that kind of leads me into a question that I was going to ask, and
About
you know,
jerking off?
no,
Well,
the
But
other part
before
that he's
you
talking
answer
about.
before you ask your question, I do kind of I was going to answer in the Twitch chat right now, but Italian guy 08, who was one of our first fans, so welcome back,
Oh,
just
boy.
asked us if we did play Uncharted 4, would we agree that it got a little bit of Assassin's Creed in it? And I would have said the action is where the big difference would be, but I do see some of the set pieces being somewhat similar to Assassin's Creed
Oh
games.
yeah, definitely. I mean, no spoilers, but there is a part in that game that felt just like Black Flag. I mean, they definitely felt just like Black Flag. Just
Right?
kind of the environment and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Maybe
can
it's
see
because I
that.
haven't
I
played
think
the
I
new
mean
ones.
it might be the
They're based on
common pirates,
so-
yeah. But
Yeah. Well, no,
But I mean, I
just
still think game
the
design
area.
wise,
One
yeah.
of the areas you're in reminds me a lot of like some areas in Black Flag. It just looked like it, felt like it, climbing on things and stuff like that. Like I got that feel on a couple of parts.
I do think that in Uncharted 4 I was way more stealthy than I've been in any of the other ones.
Oh,
I agree
Well,
with
yeah,
that
that was
too.
the first time that they added actual ability to be stealth in the
Yeah.
high.
not really. You could in the other ones you could go through.
No,
kind
but
of
They
then
didn't have like the high
they didn't
ground
have an
that you could
actual-
hide in and stuff
they
like
didn't
that.
have a
though,
stealth
in the other
system
ones.
where you could
Yeah.
tell that
Yeah.
the enemies were actually paying attention to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you can
the
mark,
view
you can
thing,
mark
yeah.
the enemies too and stuff like that.
I always
But-
just run guns a-blazing. I don't do any stealth. I hate stealth. Hey,
Oh,
Kumar,
God.
do you know what I just found the other day?
What's that?
Remember in 2012 when you let me borrow your Assassin's Creed 3?
Oh yeah.
I still have it.
Your late fee is like $72 million.
Man, that would have kept Blockbuster in business.
All right, so I
Better
have
just keep it.
I have two more questions kind of about this topic, and the first one just kind of goes based off what Wes was saying. So, with The Thief's End, Naughty Dog seems to be kind of closing the book on Nathan Drake, and where Laura, on the other hand, is in the midst of a second reboot, really, and this time it's way more of a drastic reboot. So does this give Laura kind of a slight edge that she's been kind of relevant for 2 decades? Like, Jamar kind of made his point clear on that, but what about anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think relevant has to be in quotes. I mean,
Yeah.
she's been
Yeah.
around for 2 decades, but not necessarily relevant. Like, she had some trash that happened, like, so I think they can definitely go farther, but if you take the 4 Uncharted games versus the 2 Tomb Raider games that have already come out, and then the next 2, say they make 4, I think Uncharted will hold up better, and I think Uncharted will be storyline-wise more impactful than the Tomb Raider games. Because I enjoyed the first Tomb Raider. I hadn't played the second one, but I enjoyed the first of the remake, and it didn't have the emotional charge that the Uncharted games do. Like,
See, I don't agree with that at all. But
I
mean,
didn't give a
especially
shit in Tomb
If you
Raider.
don't agree,
Like, I
then-
really just didn't give a shit.
Name
How
2
did-
characters outside of Lara Croft.
Okay, now the characters I could name you because it's been 2 years
There you
since I
go,
played
so
the game.
there's-
Yeah,
It's
I
been 2
mean,
years since I played the game.
Yeah, and we haven't
But you
played the
can name
new one,
characters.
and we just played a game where they have
Yeah.
all the same fucking characters.
And let's be honest, I'm not even good at those names.
And honestly, when it comes to the first Tomb Raider game, though, like what Jake was saying, that if you didn't find any emotion in the first scene where you killed somebody in that game. I mean,
No,
that
dude,
was
I felt
tense.
worse. The only part I felt bad in that entire game was when like the pilot crashes trying to save you. Like,
It's not
and
even,
then I was like,
it's
oh,
not
that
even
sucks.
remorse,
And that
though.
was it.
It's
Like-
just more. It's just more like you kind of like feel like, okay, now she's, kind of that change in her where she has to take this person's life, and now
Okay,
she's.
I mean, of course, there's a lot
I
of
felt like-
holes in Uncharted, but like she struggles through that first kill, and then throughout the game you kill like 5,000 people again.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's the same problem with what was it, Far Cry 3, where like the dude's like, I've never killed anyone, and then like you're a pussy for the first half an hour, and then you kill when you kill one person, you become like this expert assassin. Like it's an
But is that
issue
better than
of
Uncharted
dissonance.
when you kill people and you don't have any regard at all? Like you don't even like acknowledge the fact that you just murdered literally 1,000 people as you go through the game. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like seriously, like at what point his wife is along with him for some of this stuff, and she has no regard at all for the fact that her husband is just straight out executing people.
I'm just saying, if you want a strong marriage, you go
Hey,
kill people.
Hey, if they shoot at you, I
It's
mean,
simple.
I'm just saying there's no emotion to that. Like I think with
There
Tomb
is.
Raider,
He cracks
some
jokes
emotion,
the
there's a
entire
struggle
time.
with it.
That's
I mean,
emotion.
we're not arguing whether Laura Croft or Nathan Drake are sociopaths or not. All right, like that's a different discussion. But
All right, okay.
I feel like the
Like that
emotion,
kind of has to be
like
part of it, though.
you guys all talked about how emotional you can get when you play a Naughty Dog game. I don't think the next Tomb Raider games can hold up that level of writing that Uncharted has had for the last 4 games.
I mean, I'm on side Tomb Raider, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I do too. Because don't get me wrong, the new Tomb Raider is great and all, and it's got a great story to it, but it doesn't compare.
All right, so you're.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to lead into my last question, but if you got something else, go ahead.
No, I was just because he brought up the new Tomb Raider, and I just kind of was let down, playing the first one and enjoying it. Coming into that one, again, this is about the story, is that it didn't pick up or anything. You kind of the weight of everything that happened in the first game, it just kind of never exists in the second one. They bring up briefly about it, and then they go into the new story. So that's the kind of things that I'm talking about. It's more of just a splash instead of a full set piece.
I do love the brutality of the new rebooted Tomb Raider series, because when you're fucking going down a river and you hit those spikes, it's brutal.
Oh yeah.
Uncharted, you fall and he just ragdolls the ground, and they're like, "No, Nathan, no, not naked Drake."
Did
It'd be more
anybody
brutal if he
else
was naked.
get a super Metal Gear Solid feel when you died a couple times and they're
Oh,
no, Snake, Drake, Nate.
So to kind of wrap it up, I guess this question just kind of goes back to the very beginning. So developer Toby Gard accidentally or possibly as a joke during character development increased Laura's breast size 150%. And the team kind of decided that they wanted to go with it. Marketing for the game made him go with it, and it kind of turned her more into a sex symbol. So do you think we would be having this conversation at all had that not happened?
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because they got so
tell
much
you-
publicity from that, and no publicity is bad publicity for that shit.
It's true.
I can tell you that absolutely not, because in the first game there was always that rumor that you can jump into a specific section of the game and all her clothes come off, and my friend Matt and I did that for 6 hours straight, and then we thought we would.
Did you hear that from your friend's cousin's sister whose dad works for Sony?
No, actually, it was in some game magazine, and I was like, "Oh, I got to do it." And then back then, I think I had AOL 0.5, and I printed
Oh
out
god.
a picture, and I was like, "Look, Matt, it's real. Nude Raider, buddy."
Naked Drake and Nude Raider, man.
I think it was skins on PC that you could switch and.
Yeah, I thought it was a PC mod that they.
Yeah.
Probably.
And they always teased it too, because even at the end of Tomb Raider 2, I think she's in her house in the shower, and then she turns around and blasts a shotgun at the camera. Sorry if that's a spoiler alert, but if you haven't played it by now, that was
I'm
15
so
years
mad at
ago,
you.
So.
It's 1997.
Wes does hate spoilers a lot. That threatened to ruin the entire game because you predicted someone coming back to life.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
But
Hey,
yeah,
we're not going to talk about Uncharted spoilers.
But I guess I guess we can all pretty much agree on that we probably would not be having this conversation had that not happened. So.
Yeah, and then we would not
We
even
can
have
all agree.
Uncharted. So.
I mean, just a bunch of young kids sitting there playing it. That's what you wanted.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
you guys all remember that though. You would hear something from a friend of a friend whose dad worked at Nintendo or some stupid shit like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
those were cheat codes back in the day. No man, I heard that this person could do this, and it's viable because someone works for this company, and you're like, oh okay, and then you'd spend hours trying it, and then you're like, I'm dumb.
That's what I miss about the old days. It was the unknown. You just didn't know, and you had to do it yourself to find out. You had gaming magazines back then, but now the internet can show you and tell you everything.
I do
you don't
have
have to
to
know
say-
if it's real. Just go and look it up.
I'll say
have to say
the
that
puzzles in the first Tomb Raider games are way harder than any other puzzles, even in any of the Uncharted games. Uncharted.
This is
you
the
have
first
whole-
Uncharted game I haven't had to stop and really think about
Try to
any of the
figure out.
puzzles. I just ran through them. I was like, oh, this is obvious.
The first puzzle, there was no consequence to not getting it right. You could literally just walk around and guess.
Well,
Like-
I actually I love that because hated spending
Too
so
bad.
much time on this stupid ass puzzle.
Yeah, if
Because
you
I'm
get
gonna play
stuck
the
for an
game at least
hour,
3 times. So now it's like, this is so annoying. Like,
But
just
they're
let me get
still,
through.
but they're still time consuming though. Like they're easy, you can figure them out, but they're time consuming as all hell. I'd rather have it be a
Yeah.
little bit challenging and shorter than be like really long and drawn out when I already know what I'm gonna do. It just it's just a matter of doing it. But
I mean,
I don't know,
you
it's
have
just
to.
me.
This is a Uncharted cast, but you do have to give it to him though. Like the new journal is so much better, and it doesn't just like you walk up to a puzzle and he's like, "Huh, I think I have something on page 3 about this," and it tells you exactly how to do it now.
right?
And he kind of like
Yeah.
lets you play around with it, which is kind of cool.
I mean,
I do like the part where he rips like smaller squares in the journal,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then like you can manipulate it.
Spoilers!
Yeah, oh no,
totally
like
spoiling the
yeah.
shit.
there's squares
you solved
involved in the
puzzle
game.
book
oh my god, you know what? I'm gonna
before
spoil something for you all right now. You ready?
We all beat the game.
Drake
man.
gets naked.
Bruce Willis is dead at the end of Sixth Sense. Boom.
I knew it was going to be that.
Boom.
The aliens are
You know-
allergic to germs.
You know,
All
I
right,
never
moving.
beat
Spoiler,
the first
it was
the first
actually-
6 Tomb Raider games. I never beat them. I'm not gonna lie. I've never beat those games because back then there wasn't
Yeah,
the internet
endings?
to teach me how to beat it.
Yeah, when we were kids, though, man, I can't imagine like how many games I would have actually beat if I could, play it now during this like time,
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't beat like half the Nintendo games like Ocarina and Donkey Kong 64 and Mario 64 until I was like in high school.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
No,
you
Mario
can make
64
on your
game I
deathbed.
beat because my mom bought me a Nintendo 64 and I had 2 games, that and GoldenEye. So I played that for the entire generation of the Nintendo 64. I had no choice.
No Conquer Bad Fur Day, easily the best game.
No, not at all.
Oh,
This is my mom who bought me a PlayStation 2 for my birthday and gave me no games. She just bought me the PlayStation 2.
dude, not even
I mean,
Smuggler's Run.
Nothing.
Oh my god.
So I had this brand new PlayStation 2, opened it up, and I was playing PlayStation 1 games in it. Oh my
Smuggler's
God.
Run was amazing.
It wasn't until like months later I started getting a bunch of games. Had a rough shot.
All right. All right, moving on. All right.
Speaking of rough childhoods,
Now it's time for our favorite segment from last week, Jamar's Story Corner. In case you missed it, one of us this week, it's going to be Mike, has written a short story and is about to email it to Jamar so you can read it live for all of us. Jamar has no idea what he's about to read, so sit back and enjoy.
I have to.
I just emailed it to the Fanboy Fight Club for you.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Just so you know, it's all set in the tone of Dr. Seuss.
Oh gosh.
You gotta
Oh,
ring it, read it that way.
Give 1 second. It's pulling up the email here as we speak. Oh my God! It's asking for two-step verification. What the hell?
I don't know how we are so prepared for a podcast.
Okay, there we go. It skipped past that now. Oh, Google. Okay. All right, this seems pretty interesting. Okay, I'm just gonna not read it at all. Or not look over. I'm just gonna straight read it. You guys ready?
We're ready.
Yep.
All right.
I
Good
prefer if you
evening.
didn't read it at all.
Oh, no, I mean like I don't want to look forward. No,
God damn it, Jake.
Good evening, one and all. My name is Jason. Tonight I'd like to tell you a love of mine for dick potatoes. A dick potato is a potato that has set. Wait, hold on. A dick potato is a potato that has a set of manberries with a thick, long, fully erect shaft. The first time I saw them, I screamed, "What is this witchcraft?" No one quite understands where they came from. I sometimes daydream of sticking one in Jake's man bum. That's bun, not bum, bun. There's one more with dick potatoes. There's one more thing. Oh wait, hold on. I messed this up.
Jesus
so
Christ,
much. There's so much more with dick potatoes you can do, aside for boiling them, mashing them, and sticking them in stew. I love their dried. Sorry. I love their long dried out shaft in all of my holes. It's so much better than mashed in my bowls. This is insane. I sometimes sit for hours stroking their balls, mostly while my wife is away shopping at malls. My love for big potatoes have taken over my life. When I lick them slowly like a Starbucks straw, I, I can't stop. I get disgusted stares from my wife. Sometimes I walk around with one in my butt. One might call me a potato slut. But for now, I must remit. I must leave and take a piss. Dick potatoes are love. Dick potatoes are life. 50 Shapes of Dick Potatoes. A true love story. Oh my god.
Wow.
I'm gonna look like such an idiot when reading these because I can't stop laughing and my eyes squint so I can barely see the words.
No,
Okay.
dude, the potato slut
I
gets
think
me every time.
we should have him read them with the actual camera on.
Oh my gosh. Maybe one of these days we'll get a video rolling.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. Before we start wrapping things up a little bit, the Italian guy also had a pretty good. He brought up the Uncharted movies, possibly happening since the Lara Croft movies, the Tomb Raider movies were a big hit. And then Wes, you said who would you want to star in an Uncharted movie?
Actually,
Italian
that was
guy.
me. Thank you.
It says the only Wes Smith. Who would you want to
Whoa,
star?
you changed your name?
No, I'm talking about like way back when we talked about it in
Oh.
group
I'm
chat.
talking about what's happening in the chat.
I don't
on
care.
Twitch right now.
I said it.
Jesus Christ.
Like there's no cares about that.
And so if we want to go through, he says Italian guy said that Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Hugh Jackman. That's who he would go with. So I don't know if you guys want to throw it out there. I know, Mike, you have an opinion, but no one really cares. But you can say it.
Hey.
I mean,
I
Matt Damon
stand
has,
by.
like,
Nathan Fillion is perfect.
Is
I
his
say
name
just-
Nathan?
I say just have Nolan North do it. I mean, give him a little
He's
bit.
too
He doesn't
old.
look the part, and he's getting old.
I mean, he does kind of look like Nathan Drake. I feel like.
Have you seen him?
He looks
Yeah,
old.
what's
Yeah.
He looks nothing like Nathan Drake.
But sometimes
What?
voice actors can't actually act.
I mean,
That too.
he's the
I mean, he
top
does
of
act- technically he
voice
acts out
acting,
everything
and he
in
is
mocap.
acting. Yeah, that is very true.
I mean, yeah, he acts with his voice, which is a specific. I mean, that's something different. Nathan
Well,
Fillion, I think
he
he's
does his own mocap thing. Yeah, they put him in the suit, and him, the voice actor for Sully, all of them, they all like act out the parts, so it's them acting it.
Oh, didn't Nathan Fillion get fat on Castle?
He can lose some weight. I mean, Ben Affleck like gained like 100 pounds of muscle to be Batman. I'm pretty sure Nathan Fillion can lose a few pounds.
I mean, he needs a job, so I guess he could do it.
Yeah, Castle got canceled, so he needs something.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Matt Damon would be kind of cool, but I feel like Matt Damon's kind of old as well.
I thought it was Matt Damon's.
Matt Damon.
It would be Jason Bourne playing Nathan Drake. I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's tough. How about
All
no?
right.
Just CGI it.
Oh God, no.
But that's all. I agree that Bruce Campbell would be a perfect Sully, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, without doubt.
I do
How
think
about Gerald Butler?
I haven't seen like I don't actually watch Supernatural, but one of the brothers would actually probably be pretty good.
Jensen?
Jensen Ackles. I think he might do all right on it.
I have my pick. I don't know if you guys would agree with him, but I love this actor. He was great on a TV show. He's been every movie he's been in. He's been great. But I think Chris Pratt would be perfect.
He's in
What?
everything.
Yeah, he's
He's
gonna be
in
Indiana
everything.
Jones. I don't know.
He's
I mean-
already playing Drake in Jurassic World and Jurassic World 2. So he already had it.
I mean, if he doesn't do Indiana Jones, I think he'd make a
Yeah.
perfect Drake.
I mean, honestly, that's probably a good call.
I think
honestly,
he is going to do
honestly,
Indiana Jones. though.
with the wit, Ryan Reynolds would make a good Nathan Drake. I mean, as far as like the little side jokes and quibs.
I feel like he's that step further than that though.
Yeah, he's like he might
Like
be a little
his
cool.
is too constant. Like Nathan still has his like serious moments. I don't feel that Ryan Reynolds knows what the word serious means.
That's true.
It was like the internet is saying Bradley Cooper.
That would
yeah.
be. I would think
I
that.
don't know.
Mm.
I don't- I don't think he looks like Drake enough.
Maybe 5 years ago. Maybe 5 years ago, it would have been better.
I don't think he looks like Drake enough.
Maybe 5 years ago. 'Cause, I mean,
I don't think he looks like Drake enough.
all that matters is who's gonna play Elena Fisher.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Well, come on down there.
Who's making it weird?
All right, and on that note, on behalf of all of us, I'd like to thank anyone who has joined us live on Twitch and anyone who listens to our show on the YouTube channel once it's posted. The first rule of the Fanboy Fight Club podcast: you always talk about the Fanboy Fight Club podcast. Share us with your friends. Follow us on Facebook. Read about us and catch up on catch up on the shows that you missed. Catch up on the shows that you've missed on our webpage, fanboyfightclub.com. Also, tweet us your feedback at FBFC Podcast. Anything you guys want to add, anything I missed or obviously messed up on that you want to clarify?
Yeah, keep up with our shit.
Yeah.
Keep up with our shit.
I do want to add. I did add a little poll on Twitter, so we can get some votes in and see who is truly the better adventurer. That'd be cool.
All right.
And
Thanks,
also
man.
earlier, Mike said Kanye West is awesome.
Yeah, I heard that.
That is a straight quote.
I feel so betrayed.
He's about as awesome as like unaborted.
So
What?
That's
Did you say
I'm
awesome
so-
as abortions?
I mean,
special
close enough.
Also, a special shout out to Italian Guy 08 for joining us again. Appreciate that.
fan of the year.
I'm gonna mail him like a little plastic Oscar.
He's spray one of my turtle toys.
So join us next week. While it might be subject to change, but right now with Apocalypse coming out, we thought we would attempt to tackle the wonky X-Men universe. But thank you, my friends. Until next week when we meet again.
Watch
Do
our
something with
shit.
your lives
Keep
now.
up with it.
Keep up with our shit.
I'm just gonna keep this going. Just hoping someone
Look
says
at all
something
my
stupid.
shit.
Keep up with our shit.